It is finally time to start working on these solar panels. It is July the 2nd, it's Thursday, and I've got tomorrow off. Now I've got plans tomorrow evening, but I've got all morning and a good portion of the afternoon to work on this. So I'm going to get started tonight. I am going to work on taking, well, the plan is to take one of these sections of four, these four right here, and I'm going to take those down, hopefully tonight. And then tomorrow I'll rebuild the stand. But because I want this to go as smooth as possible, I am going to get a couple of these out. I need to figure out how wide they are so I know how long I need to make my frames. Once I know how long I can make the frames, I can even sort of go ahead and get some of those cut because I want to get started on this first thing in the morning. So I bought these in December and I intended to get to this project much sooner than I'm finally getting to it. But well, you know, there's always something else going on. Apparently that box got wet. And that thunder is closer than I thought it was. So this is the new 200 watt panel. It's shorter and wider than my current 200 watt panels. That's one of the reasons why I have to rebuild this frame. Not to mention I'm putting 5 panels where there were 4 to begin with. So here's what the clamps look like. This piece attaches to the solar panel, and then these two, can't find it, these two attach to the board. And the way they've packaged this is really neat. There's 2 Ziploc bags and they're stapled together. It's got washers and nuts and bolts on one side, and it's got the screws to attach to the wood on the other side. So what I'll be doing here is taking this, putting it here, and putting in my bolt. Now I could put this here, I could put it here, I could adjust where I'm going to put it here. It basically makes it a little bit narrower, so my wood frames only have to go from there to there. They don't have to go the full width, and that's why I'm going to do that. I did not attach them all the way at the end. I came down a little bit, and so where those are mounted like that, basically it's the same type of thing I'm doing. I just won't need as long of a wide as a frame that I had on these. These were 2x4s, and I'm planning to use 2x6s because these does have a little warp to it. So I'm going to try to avoid that this time. So this is what this looks like. I put the nut through with the washer, or the bolt with the washer through here, and another washer, and a lock washer, and a nut. Now make a note, it's really not best to do this on a porch where there's slats, because I dropped one and I can't get it out. I've lost it. So I'm going to have to go to the store and get more. Luckily, I got plenty. And that's all it is. There's just 4 of these per panel, and I'm doing 5 panels. So I've got a few more of these to do. Now, if you do these yourselves, make sure you put these brackets on correctly. I remember last year, last time, years ago, I put one on at least one upside down. So that's what we're looking at. I've got the brackets on top and bottom, and because I've got this one set up, I should be able to just take my measurement, measure from bracket to bracket. What is that, 32 3/4? No, we'll do it 32 13/16 just to be on the safe side. Now multiply that out by 5. So I'd taken my measurements, 164 and 1/16, and I made it a quarter just to make my life easier for measuring. And I got all 5 panels with their brackets on it that I plan to try to do tomorrow, and laid them against that board because I do such a horrible job measuring sometimes. I can do the math, and the math says this, and then it turns out not to be that. So I do know right here I am good. Now that I know I'm good with that, I can either cut them or I can take down the solar panels. I think I'm going to cut them because tomorrow morning I can get started while my wife is still asleep if I'm not using the saw. I think I'm going to do that. I still got time. So I'll need 4. Because if you see this frame, again, this is basically what I'm going off of. I've got the 2x4 on the side here. It's coming down to this 2x4 in the front. And then with the 2x4 in the front, I've got a 2x6 on top of that. So my plan is I'm going to switch the front piece to a 2x6, but I will continue to keep a 2x6 on the top. So I need 4 pieces cut to that length. I'm going to attach the 2x6 front to the 2x4 here and down there. I will have, at the very end, I'll have 2x6 connecting the 2 2x6s, and I'll have supports of 2x6s in the middle, just like I have with these 2x4s. It's just, there'll be 2x6s on everywhere except for those 2 hinge points. Now I may actually go ahead and attach a 2x6 here. Sorry, attach a 2x6 here to this board with several screws, and then I can screw from the front into the 2x6 and do that. Okay, so I still have daylight, so I'm disconnecting my solar panels. So on this set of 4, I pulled my fuse and I've disconnected this first row. The end came off instead of instead of coming apart like it's supposed to. This one came off. This is one I'd crimped on a while back, like years ago. I did not do a good job of this. There's a lot of corrosion on this line, which would not be good. This may be part of some of my problems. I didn't seem to be getting as much electricity. Not bad, just a little off. So I'm going to disconnect all of these. By the way, this was not hard to disconnect, but I think it was because it was shaded for years, and that one was in the sun for a good portion of its life, most of its life. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the other 3 cables up here, and then I can get the ladder out and start taking these screws off. All right, so I got more done today than I expected, which is very unusual for me because usually it's the other way around. I've got my boards cut, I've got my solar panels done, and I've got my brackets on tomorrow's panels. So what I need to do tomorrow, take the 2x6s off of this frame, take the front 2x4 off, and put a new 2x6 on that. Then I will do the same thing for the back side, the top side, and then I'll put some supports in. So that's sort of the plan for tomorrow. I'll be starting early. As soon as I can get around. I've got my normal morning, read the Bible, read a book, go for a walk type activities that I'm going to do first, just to start my day off right, and then I will be getting onto this. So I don't know how soon you'll be able to join me because of light, but I'll see you in just, well now. Well, it's just after 6 a.m. and I'm getting ready to get back to work. I did do a little bit more last night. I took the 2x6s off the top, and I'm getting ready to start taking that frame apart. So. It's 7 o'clock, so that took me about 45 minutes or so to get things taken care of there. So you can see I've screwed it in. What I didn't talk about is I've made some 2x6 brackets to connect to that 4x4. That way, when I was working over here, I could put my clamp on the 2x6 on both top and bottom to hold it while I was doing it. And I've done that on all 4 sides. Pretty. I'm going to put, of course, an end piece here, and I'm going to, before I only had 2, I'm going to go ahead and put 3 supports in the middle of this one. I'll put my 2x6s on top after that, and then time to put solar panels up. You can see the sun. It's right through there. So when that sun hits, it's going to get hot. In place. Now I'm just ready to start working on putting the solar panels up there. So that's what we're talking about. We've got the 2x6s attached to each other and to the 2x4 that is hinged and locked in place, and then supports in between them all. So I am ready for solar panels. It's 8:30. So I'm 2.5 hours into today's work. Well, we interrupt this solar upgrade because of the chickens. You gotta do a head count. I was sitting there in front of the fan drinking some water, and all of a sudden they went crazy. Well, I came over to check on them. I didn't expect much. And I saw something running through the woods away from their enclosure. I couldn't, since I didn't have my glasses, I couldn't tell what it was or if it had a chicken. I think everyone's here. Okay, I counted 16. I'm assuming my broody one is still inside. And she is. Well, since I'm here, I'll give them some mealworms, because I hadn't done that today. If you care, we do get our mealworms from Grubterra, and I got a 20% off coupon in the description. I think I'm going to walk the property line, or the fence line. All right. Yeah, I could not tell what it was, which is frustrating. It was running across the ground. Could have been a fox, could have been a coon. Those are my two guesses, actually. Well, it looks like the perimeter is intact. I'll go finish my water break and get back to work. But I'm going to keep this handy just in case they go crazy again. And if I do run over here, I'll remember not to forget my glasses. Hopefully. All right, so I thought before I start installing these new panels, I'd sort of show them to you here side by side. These are the 200 watt rich panels that I started off with. I'm still going to be using these. I'm just moving them. And because these are Renogy's new ShadowFlux solar panels, they're supposed to handle the shade a little bit better. So I'm putting them where these were at. They're both 200 watt panels, but their specs are different. My original ones are 20.4 volts and 9.8 amps, giving you the 200 watts. These Renogy ones are 31.3 volts and 6.3 amps. So that's also why you don't mix and match your solar panels, because it would, depending on how you have it wired, it'll add up all your amps and use your lowest voltage, or it'll add up all your voltage and use your lowest amps. Anyway, if I added those two together, I wouldn't get 400 watts. I just know that. I could give you the math if you want to know. Just ask in the comments, and I am going to start at this end and work my way that way. And we'll see how this goes. We are making power from these front panels. You can see the back ones are partially shaded, which is going to cause them not to make very much electricity. And since they're wired series, these are series, all of them are parallel. Those shaded panels back there are really hurting my production right now. When I'm all said and done, this whole front row will have 10 panels, and they will be in series. And only those 10 panels. So at this point, they'd be making a lot more electricity than the 16 that I had that was sitting here before. I mentioned it's hot and humid. I thought so. I thought I'd do it again. So the panels are on the frame, and it looks really good. You can sort of compare it to the ones that are there. If my wiring was done, I'd almost be done, but it's not completely done. I ran my wiring in my last video to here. These don't have ends, and I need to put ends on them. And then I need to run a wire from here up, over, and then over to that one, and then run another wire from here up, over, and I'm going to run enough to get to the end plus extra. Basically, I want to measure this. So what I'll probably do is while I'm running my wire, when I get to that post, run it around the post and come all the way back to this end to see how much wire I need. That should get me what I need to get to the other end. I say should because there's always a chance it won't, but it should. I'll probably give myself a little extra as well. I've heard it's not good to have solar panels in the sun. Not plugged in, not doing anything, but anyway, that's why I'm not taking much of a water break. I'm going to take a little water break and then work on getting this wire in. But we're almost done. Worked 3.5 hours today so far. Whew. So I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. I ran these all through this, got them in there. Each set was marked. He asked me, what happens if I disconnect everything? How do I know which is going to go to what? And so I'm going to take some of this shrink tape that I've got and push this up a ways. And I'm just going to put those on. That way I know this set goes to that set in there. And I don't have to worry about, does this wire go to this wire? I mean, because if I've got 8 wires going through here, I need to figure that out. I could use a, what's that called? The heat gun. But I found this works just as well. And heat guns use electricity. Now one of these has already been stripped, but it's already corroded from being out in the weather. So I'm going to move these up some and make fresh cuts and get fresh copper. And if you do any kind of electrical work at all and you don't have one of these are amazing. There we go. I love these. They make this job so much easier. Let's see. Fresh wire. All right, I need to figure out which color is going to be what. I've got white and I got black. Because of the way these connectors work, once you wired them, you can't wire them wrong. So it really doesn't matter. I've seen people use all of one color, and I have a whole bunch of white and I only have a little bit of black. I think what I'll probably do is just go ahead and use this up, and then yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and use this up. So I'm going to do plus first because the solar panel, well, actually I'm not sure I've showed you these. These connectors have pluses and minuses on them to help you know which is which. So this is the one right here that I'm going to put on the black cable. And the reason that matters right now is the ends, the silver ends are different than the other. The smaller one goes in the other connector, and the larger one goes on this one. So stick these on. Make sure it doesn't slide out. And like I said, this crimping tool is worth its weight in gold. And what I should have done, thankfully I know this doesn't matter, but I still should have done it. So I need to put the nut and the washer on first before you do that, really. I should have went and looked a minute ago. I did do the wrong one. So we get to crimp this again. And I crimped the plastic and I crimped the metal. That way I've got a good connection. Now, where's it at? Here it is. Nope. I mean, it was one, but not the one I was looking for. I slide that in. And tighten it down. And this is ready to go. Now on this one on the inside, this black one will get the opposite one. Yes, because right now I'm getting ready to do another cable for that to go into here, and the other side will have this, which will connect to the one that we just looked at a minute ago. It's sitting there. I'm going to go ahead and put the one on the other one as well. Now on this one, I want the larger connector, not the smaller one. And when you slide these in, make sure you slide them in all the way. Now that I've got these, I won't do it right this second because I want to get these set up and charging. But I can come back now that I know how I'm going to wire these and wire these other sets the exact same way. So I'll be putting the female on all the black cables and I'll be putting the male on all the white cables. Now, I'll be able to start running this up and over for the wiring. Let's see if it'll catch this. This is so handy. Let's get this ran and then I'll worry about the other wire. Well, I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So let me show you real quick. So my wires come in here. I've added this pipe for it to go down just to help control all the wires. I'll add some clamps later. And through this wire, or through this pipe again to control. Now this pair that I just did, I've taped there with red and I've plugged them into this on-off, this switch. Everything, all of these are plugged into the power or the charge controller. So let's go finish connecting everything outside. We'll come in here and turn this on. All right, so the only thing left on connecting these is to connect these two panels. Everything else, oh, that's much better. Everything else is already connected. And then this one has all the extra wire, so it'll be able to make to the end of all 10 panels, I hope. So let's plug these two in and then go flip the switch. All right, everything is connected. If I crimped everything correctly. Let's go check it out. Lift this up. Okay, it says no PV input. It's solar 2. I don't have anything on solar 2. Don't have anything on solar 3, even though it's showing volts, which is weird. Nothing on solar 4. Shows nothing on solar 1. Let me make sure everything's connected. All right, and this is why having a multimeter is so important. So I went out, tested everything. I was getting 175 volts from those 5 panels. So I knew I was good there. I did check a couple connections. One was loose. I didn't have it in good. Then I came in here and there we get 753 watts out of 1,000 possible. So 75%, which is better than my normal. Normally I get about 66%. So 75% is not bad. You never get your panel rating. It just doesn't happen. It's like 100% perfect conditions. But down here, wait, I'm waiting for it to come back through. Yeah, 758 watts, 140 volts. But down here, I thought 1, 2, 3, 4. So I plugged into here. Then it started showing me when it first turned it on 4. Well, this is 1. So I moved my wires to here so this can be 1, because that's how I've got it labeled outside. I've got 1 on the hole that's coming out from the piping. So I wanted my numbers to match. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know how to do that. So it's working, which is good. I was a little concerned when I flipped that switch and nothing happened. But it did what I was supposed to do. If it's not connected, it's not going to work. Anyway, so I've got 1,000, took down 800 watts of solar panels and I put up 1,000, and I'm actually getting 750-ish or so out of that. So that's really good. Next up, we'll be taking down these 4 and putting up the next group of 5. This won't take as long because I won't have to do any of the wiring. I'll just continue wiring as I go along. So thankfully, that part's not going to be too bad. Not compared to this very first one here. This first one here. I'll be, now I'll have the same issue when I take down the other set of 10 or 8 to put up the next 10. I'll have to get those wired. I may go ahead and do that now because I know how I want my cables wired now. So I could probably go ahead and prep some of that kind of stuff up. But I'm happy. Those look slick. Not that these don't. I'm just happy to get this upgrade really started. Now I do have some extra wiring back here that I'll have to eventually clean up. Because I tilt these panels, right now we're in our summer angle, and so it is shallow. So this extra cabling right here, I would like to tack up, but I don't want to do any more tacking until I've tilted it for my winter angle. Then I'll come back and do that in the fall. It's high enough that nothing should grab it. I don't like leaving these wires down here, so I may roll those up and actually maybe use a clamp to keep it off the ground. I just don't like having it down on the ground like that. If you are interested in this, here's my last video where we did our trenching to get all the new wiring in place. And then here is the playlist of our solar. So thanks for watching. God bless. We'll see you on the next video.